Joe Leonard joins us now. He's the former CEO of AirTran and board member of Air Canada. Trish Gilbert is the executive vice president of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association. Ladies and gentlemen, good to have you here. Trish, let me start with you. It looks like we're finally going to get a deal in Congress to put an end to this. What's your assessment of what's going on here?
Well, we're very hopeful, and we applaud the Senate for last night standing up as leaders and getting this measure passed. We hope that today, early this morning, sometime mid-morning, the House of Representatives will do the same thing. The men and women that run the air traffic control system are very anxious to get back to full complement of air traffic controllers in their facilities.
What do you say to people who are skeptical and say this is a workforce that's highly unionized and actually maybe made things worse on purpose? Is there any truth
I would
to that
say
discussion?
that could not be any. That's absolutely incorrect. These men and women are very proud of the profession, and they come to work every day from the day they were hired until the day they retire to move planes safely through the system. So to purposely do anything like that would be unconscionable.
Do you think that the White House or Congress or members of government have done anything purposely in order to make this be very dramatic and to be extremely inconvenient to try to prove to everyone that the sequester should not have happened?
You know, we're just looking for the solution and the leadership we saw last night in the Senate, and we hope to see in the House of Representatives today to get the men and women back to work, to give us a full complement and get planes at capacity again. We are not happy with delays. If we could control the weather, we would completely wipe out delays as controllers.
Leonard, what do you think? I understand we have your mic working now. Good to have you.
Good morning.
How much political motivation do you see in this slowdown that's just happened here?
Well, I don't know. There are just some odd things here. You know, when you're asked to reduce your budget by 5.5% and you lay off, furlough 7% of the air traffic controllers, it just doesn't add up. And so I don't know what the answer is. But in most businesses and the government, whether it be federal, state, or local, when you are in an emergency, a 5% reduction is not all that much, and you just have to suck it up and get it done. And in this case, that wasn't the case. And,
what do you say to individuals who say, wait a minute, why are people who fly special when we're making cuts to Head Start, when we're making cuts to other areas of the government that help the needy? Why should there be a special appropriation for this?
Well, because the economy depends on air travel. And I think the aviation area, the airlines are taking a disproportionate hit in that the cuts are primarily in air traffic controllers. The FAA has about 47,000 employees, 15,000 of which are air traffic controllers, and that seems to be where the brunt of the reductions are coming. The current program calls for about 7% of air traffic controllers to be furloughed, when the budget cuts are about 5 to 5.5%.
Joe, this is Kayla Tausche back at headquarters. Why couldn't the airlines respond by doing what they always do, which is pad the time that's actually outlined on your ticket, so that they can still say that you're arriving early, even though you're probably circling to wait to land for an hour, etc. I mean, couldn't you just increase the actual window of time, like has happened when now that everyone carries on their baggage and boarding takes longer? Why was that not an option?
Well, it's always an option, but it's a very expensive option. And, these delays are, the air traffic control delays have gone up about 300%, according to a couple of the airlines I've talked to recently, over what is normal. And so there's clearly a disconnect between what's going on and what should be going on.
Ms. Gilbert, doesn't this actually highlight a much longer-term problem, which is the way Congress allocates funding to airports, lack of upgrades, etc.? I mean, we have delays now, but we have delays all the time for no good reason. It starts to rain slightly at LaGuardia and everything slows down dramatically. JFK is frequently a disaster, same with Newark. And I refer to only those because those are the airports that I use. I mean, something's got to happen dramatically here, or else we're going to have this problem permanently. Well, I was going to ask Trish that.
Okay, thank you. It's a very busy and complex system, and the FAA has worked.
And it's out of date and lack of upgrades and the next gen technology that they're supposed to allocate billions to. Congress never seems to manage to do it.
Well, you know, there has been great momentum and great effort put behind modernizing the system and doing airspace redesigning to bring efficiencies to the airline. And we've been working with the FAA collaboratively to make that happen. Unfortunately, once the cuts were put into place, a lot of that activity has either completely halted or at least on a simmer mode as controllers went back to the operation to make sure that we could keep as much capacity in the system as possible. It's unfortunate that long-term goals took a hit for this short-term crisis.
Mr. Leonard, would it help if we did a lot more privatization at airports and taken a model that we've seen in other parts of the world where we've seen efficiency increase?
No, I don't think so. I think between the FAA and the airlines and the airports, there's great cooperation today. And I think that if you look at the stats, the airline on-time performance has improved dramatically over the last few years.
But think about the capacity that you could have had, right? If things were actually running better, capacity could be much greater. Capacity
could always be better. But again, I think with the cooperation of the airports and the FAA and the airlines, the performance has gotten a good bit better than it's been in the past. It's the safest system in the world. There's nothing that comes close to comparing to the safety of the current airline system in the United States of America.
Gentlemen, lady, thanks so much for joining us.